guys, I just wanted to come on here today and talk about something that I've been doing for a couple years, but I wanted to share with you. I have been setting intentions every year, and I usually use the week between Christmas and New Year's to get everything in line and get my new planner and get everything set up so that I'm all ready for the new year. So I just wanted to go ahead and bring you along with me this year as I walk through the process. And if you want to follow along, then follow along. So we're going to go ahead and go to my desk, and I'm going to show you 3 parts of what I do. So let's go. Okay, so here we are at my desk. All you need are a couple sheets of paper and something to write with, and I prefer to have a giant cup of coffee with me at all times. So this process has 2 parts in the beginning. The first part doesn't seem to fit in, but I'll explain how it works. So the first thing that I always like to do is to look back. I know that seems kind of odd that we're moving forward into the new year, and the first thing I'm telling you to do is to look behind you, but I really have found that the more I can look back and see what worked for me and what didn't and why, the more successful I am going forward, because I know what types of goals work for me and I know how to make them happen based on how I've acted in the past. So first thing we do is we look back. Now, you can look back for any period of time that you want. If you want to look back over the last year, that's great. If you want to go to 5 years and see what's been going on, or now that we're at the end of a decade, if you want to go back 10 years, see where you were at the end of 2009 and see where you are now, that may give you some insights. It just depends on where you want to go and what you feel like you need to look for. So how I start looking back is the first thing I think about is what's different. So whatever this time period is, if it's a year, what's different now than in January of this year? Have I made different decisions than I expected? Have there been any big goals that I accomplished? So I just want to think about what is different. And then I start to think about why it's different. In some cases, it might be a life change. Maybe you got married, you had a baby, you got divorced, your kids went off to college. There's a lot of major life changes that we go through, and that can affect our year, our 5 years, our 10 years, whatever we're looking at. Was there some sort of unplanned event? This can be happy or not. Maybe there was a car accident. Maybe there was a lottery winning. I don't know. But that would be a big why is it different if there was something that you hadn't planned for, but it happened. And then a lot of times our priorities just change. As we go through, especially longer periods of time, our priorities can just change from one year to the next. That some things that seem very important, we tend to put on the back burner because other things come up. So go ahead and think about why it's different too. Not just that it's different, but try to figure out why. And then think about any big goals that you accomplished during that time period. There may have been something really monumental. Maybe you lost 100 pounds. Maybe you bought a new house. So think about big things that you accomplished. And then, are there any goals that you decided not to complete? I phrase it that way because I don't want you to think negatively that, oh, I didn't finish that goal. Because in my mind, if you have a goal that isn't finished, it's either because you decided not to complete it, or you've just put it on the back burner for now because there's some other priority that's come up. So, goals you decided not to complete and your why. And to say it's not a priority right now is fine. So, these are things that we're going to start thinking about. Now, on another sheet of paper, this is going to be our worksheet that we're using. So just divide it down the middle, and this left side is going to be our looking back column. So we're going to have 3 sections. The first section is, what are you proud of? So in that time frame that you're looking back, go ahead and list those big accomplishments that you've had. It may have been a life change, it may have been a goal that you accomplished, but things that you're proud of, and think of little things too. Don't just think of giant things. Think about memories. What are the biggest memories that stick out for you? Go ahead and write those down. And then also make little notes about how they made you feel. And then this third section down here is the biggest lessons you've learned over that period of time. Is there something that you had a big aha moment that you want to carry into the next period of time? Are there things that you've learned that don't work for you, so you don't have to do them anymore? So go ahead and jot those down. Now let's talk about moving forward. I feel like a lot of people, we do the looking back and then you immediately want to jump into, I want to do this and this and this and this next year. But again, my process has a little more behind that. So on this right side, we have our moving forward. So the first thing I want you to do is think about, what do you want to be different next year? So this will sound like a goal, but it doesn't have to be real specific. Just think about what you want to be different next year. Do you want to spend more time doing a certain activity? Do you want to focus on something in particular in your life? What do you want to be different? And then the next one is, how do you want to feel next year? This one will tie in a lot once we actually get to our goal planning, because I find that if you can tie your goals back to how you want to feel, it gives you a little extra oomph towards working towards your goals. And then what areas do you want to focus on next year? So do you really want to spend your year working on your creativity? Do you know that next year is going to be a really big year that you need to focus on your kids? And you can have more than one area. But just think about what areas you really want to focus on, because this will start giving us some ideas when we get into our goal planning. So just go ahead and take your time, work through these. You may have to bounce back and forth because as you're working you may remember something else. So take your time with this. Don't feel the need to rush and go through it super fast. You can use multiple sheets of paper. The one thing I'll tell you though is just don't edit yourself. Just write down anything that comes to your mind. Even if you need to use bigger sheets of paper, maybe each one of these questions needs to be on its own sheet of paper. That's fine. Just spend the time doing it, because you'll see in the end it really pays off. So this is step 1, to go ahead and finish up your worksheet. So take your time to do that, and then when you're ready to move on to step 2, come back and watch the next video.